Alright, welcome back to another Koenchi-shan Reviews. And in this video, I'm going to go over my manga haul for September 2021. If you are into horror manga, retro manga, Ero-guro manga, gekiga, kashihon, or even weekly and monthly manga magazines of the 60s, 70s, 80s variety, then you'll dig this video the most. There are a couple things here that I'm not going to go over today. For example, the Wooden Mortared Kingdom, Garo's 20th anniversary edition. I just went over in my previous video alongside this Garo from 1967, I think. So if you want to check that out, see my previous video. Also, I did a manga hunting video at Mandarake at Nakano Broadway 2 videos back, where I covered this UMEZZ magazine release and a couple other things. So if you want to see that, go check out that video. But I still got a lot of stuff here, so let's get into it. So first off, I picked this up online. This is Jigoku Kozo, or, the Hellboy-ish character from Hino Hideshi, of course. I actually thought I had this already. This is from 1978, and I was looking for it for a reference to something else, and I was digging through my shelves, and I did not have it. It goes for about $25, $30 over at Mandarake, but I found it online for, I think it was around $10, $15, something like that. So I picked it up. This is a really fun one, of course. And for those of you who are in our Discord, Koenchi-shan Reviews, there's a link on the YouTube page there if you guys want to come join us. Then you know why I picked this up, and it is specifically for this. What could it be? All right, some other things I got. I got this. This is fun. This is HIRONAGA Maki, Lemon Comics release. And this is the Bore Mira no Yakata. So this is a mummy story. We can see the pyramid here in the background and this mysterious figure riding a camel. So that's pretty cool. I like the color sleeve here. Not gotten a lot of Hironaga stuff yet, but I will, because eventually I'm going to run out of other stuff to profile. That's fun. I think that's from 81, 82, something like that. 83. All right, moving on. Actually, KOGA Shinichi. I'm not going to talk a lot about him because I did a whole profile video on KOGA Shinichi, but when I did do the video, I realized that I had number 2 of this series, and I needed number 1, so I tracked down number 1 finally. It was kind of hard to track down. It's getting harder and harder to get these old Lemon and Hibari comics here in Japan even, especially at decent prices. And it took me a while to track down number 1. This is the Watashi no Hara ni Noroi no Kaoga. This is my skin has been cursed with a face. So you can see this wild thing. But this is a fun series. I mean, KOGA Shinichi, if you want to know everything about him, check out my KOGA Shinichi profile video. I go into mad detail in there, and that is a fun video, I think. A lot of people liked it, so check it out. Some other stuff that I got here. Let's see. This is YOSHIMI Noboru, who I've been collecting lately because in the near future I'm going to do a profile video. This one is pretty cool. This is the, haragi could mean lingerie. I think because of the age of this from the 70s, it probably means nightgown. But it could mean lingerie, but it's the cursed nightgown or lingerie, which is a wild title. So I've been trying to get a lot of the Yoshimi stuff. Definite different style. Ooh, whenever a doll shows up, nothing good is going to happen. And I got that in a set of 6 things via Mercari online, and this was in there. This is the cursed mole, like a skin mole. So Noroi no Hokuro. And I'd actually already had one, but my new copy is in better condition than my older copy. This is a fun one though. And I also got this. This is still YOSHIMI Noboru. And this is the ghost teacher. That looks really cool, right? Look at that face. Ooh. Ooh. This is going to be a fun one. I'm holding off on reading all these Yoshimi volumes until, because that's what I do is when I prep for a profile video, I just sit down for a week and read everything on that artist, that mangaka that I have. And that way everything's nice and fresh in my mind. So I'm going to be definitely doing that with Yoshimi. But right now, I'm finishing up my HAMA Shinji video prep. And then I'm going to move on to this, SUGITO Kouji. SUGITO Kouji is from the same era as KOGA Shinichi, HAMA Shinji, and your favorite and my favorite, UMEZU Kazuo, or UMEZZ. They all worked at Hibari doing kashihon, early kashihon, and then went on to work for a number of different people, but a lot of them went straight into Hibari, these Hibaris, this through the late 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s. And you can see a lot of like cross influence between all of those mangaka. But I'm really into Sugito these days. This one's fun. This is the red-haired vampire girl. And I read this one. This is really fun. And it also has death by automobile, which is wild. It's a common theme, as I've mentioned before. So, of course, these common themes, I'm going to cover at some point in the future. But I'm not going to get into these too much because I'll save them for the profile video. This is the bloody snake room or house. This one looks pretty fun. This one here is the Mitsu no Me Yashiki, or the three-eyed, house or room. Yashiki can be a room or it can be a house. And you open it up and I was like, oh, whoa, there's a picture of Sugito himself. But no, that's not Sugito. That is Hino Hideshi as a young man. Hino Hideshi's been wearing wafuku, or traditional Japanese clothing, for so many years that when I looked at this, I'm like, wait, that's not Sugito. Wait, that's Hino wearing a jumper, wearing street clothes. Wild. You don't see that every day. I mean, of course, there are a lot of pictures of him out there if you track him down, but he's almost always wearing wafuku, Japanese traditional clothing. Whoa! Wild. Again, I'm going to go into more detail on Sugito in a later video. This one looks really fun too. This is the cursed school or the snake girls of the cursed school. This is wild. This one's going to be fun. And this one especially is awesome because this is an old kashihon. And some of the kashihon, they don't even say what year they were produced. I cannot find a date in this thing anywhere. I'm about halfway through it. I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is less horror and more mystery. A lot of the kashihon weren't particularly horror based, but they are more mystery tales, not all. I mean, there's all kinds of kashihon, but there's a lot of mystery tales. There are a lot of spy tales. There are a lot of there's some war tales in there because it was directly after the war. But yeah, I had to get at least one Sugito kashihon. It's in horrible condition, but that is okay because they are very hard to find. And like I was saying, doesn't that look like early UMEZZ? If you look at the UMEZZ kashihon era stuff, and all those guys are working together. They're all working under extreme deadlines. So I'm sure there was a lot of overlapping influence, and a lot of borrowing techniques and styles from each other. So Sugito, UMEZZ, KOGA, HAMA, all four of them. And incidentally, all born around the same time, especially UMEZZ, HAMA, and KOGA were all born within 1 year of each other. Cool. All right, that was a bunch of that. So let's look at a bit more wild stuff. just a quick sneak peek. I am right now working on KOGA Shinichi video, a full profile of him. So I thought I'd just give you a sneak peek of some of the stuff that I picked up this month. But I have a bunch more KOGA stuff, so you're definitely going to want to look for that video. This was about $50, including shipping. This is Kaidan Zenshu, or the complete ghost stories. It looks like it's all monster stories, but I picked, and it says actually KOGA Shinichi on here, but I picked it up for the HAMA Shinji story. So again, you can see how closely these guys are related to each other. And we also have some Ibara in here, and some Saga Miyuki. So this is a really cool story, but I'm not going to give anything away because I'm going to go into detail about all of this stuff in my upcoming HAMA, not KOGA, HAMA Shinji, KOGA Shinichi, HAMA Shinji, KOGA Shinichi. So I'm going to go into great detail into him and give you a whole backstory on him in my next video. I was planning to actually do it in place of this video, but we're getting towards the end of the month, so I thought I'd just do this manga haul really quick. But there's a little sneak peek at some of the stuff I will be covering. Found a kashihon as well. This one has some cool authors in there, not just HAMA Shinji. So there's a little sneak peek of that, but watch out at the end of this week or beginning of next week, there will be a new video up covering HAMA Shinji. Another video I plan to do in the near future is just kind of a roundup of some weeklies and monthlies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I will be doing that, but I picked these ones up to add to my collection here in September. And a couple things. So I'm not a big KOM and Garo collector, but there's a few things that I really wanted. First of all, I wanted the October 1967 issue of KOM because it has the first ever published story by... Who do you think that is? Look at the text. The name's different. The name says Hoshino Yasuji. But this is Hino Hideshi. This is his first published release. It's not horror, but it's not normal either. And you can see his early art style in here is very cool. So I'm going to do a whole roundup on all these kinds of weeklies here in the near future. This one too, early KOM, 1970. This would be the December issue. And I picked this one up specifically for this story, Junko Kyokatsu, or The Blackmail of Junko by MOROHOSHI, but that's not MOROHOSHI Daijirou. I don't know. Gikage or Gikage? I don't know. But it's early MOROHOSHI Daijirou. It's his first published work, and it's a very sad tale, which I've talked about a little bit in a previous video I did, because it was republished in Complex City, one of his tankobon releases. So, but this is his first one from 1970. That's why I got this. Got some other stuff here. This is Comic Yaro. This is fun. And there's some awesome ninja story in here. There's awesome spy blackmail. Is that guy shooting up skirts? I think he is. He's like, yay. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. So I'm gonna have to do another video in the near future just devoted to these old weeklies and monthlies. like this one as well. These are the big comic. These ones are from the early 80s, I believe. And I picked these up for some specific reasons too. There's some cool stuff in here though. Weird ads. Travel tips in the mountains. I noticed a lot of wind sailing and fishing pops up in these old windsurfing in Comic Yaro pops up a whole bunch, and then fishing pops up a lot in these big comic releases. I like old ads, weird stuff. Check out the old technology from back in the day. But I will definitely go through some of these in the roundup video. Don. Or what else do we have? Sometimes I don't even know why I bookmark stuff. Oh, this one's pretty cool. Check out the detail to the tile roofs. Yeah, this page too. Walking through the old town. Looks really cool, right? So I'll go into more detail about those in a future video. Moving on. Do you like Ero? Do you like Guro? Do you like Ero-guro? Then you must love Suehiro MARUO. MARUO, of course, along with Hanawa, are probably the two most famous Ero-guro authors. And this one is hardcover. Anytime I find any of their stuff in hardcover, I try to pick it up, even if I already have it. I picked up Tsuki no Hikari, Moonlight, or Moonlight, I guess, by Hanawa recently, which I already had in paperback, but I picked it up specifically because it was hardcovered, embossed. Very cool. Gonna have to get into some grotesque stuff next month, since it's October, for Halloween. I've started going over to Jimbocho recently to hunt down some manga because I just pillaged Mandarake in my local small book stores, Mandarake and Nakano that is, and my Koenji and Asagaya bookstores. So it's getting harder and harder to track down some of the stuff, some of the mangaka that I'm really into. This is Kawasaki Noboru, and this is from 1967, 68. I paid about $15 for it. There's the man himself, but a kind of hard one to find, pretty thick and dense, and pretty damn dope artwork. The detail is fantastic. What are you conjuring up? Find out in a future episode. I had to go pick up something at an actual book off, which I never go to book off, but I actually had to go into a book off because I needed, it's a long story, but I needed Monkey Peak Volume 2 because I was missing it. It got mixed in. Monkey Peak The Rock got mixed in there on it. And then I ran across this. This is, again, pretty cheap version. It was under $1. And this is a yokai dictionary or encyclopedia of yokai. It's got, I think, about 100. It's got 100 yokai in here. And it's always good to have these for reference. I don't particularly dig some of the art in here, but sometimes these yokai. So everyone knows this from Mizuki Shigeru, this image, right? The Gasha Dokuro, which was also, I think, Sekien. Toriyama Sekien was the first one in the old ukiyo paintings, was the first one to produce this image. But no, these were actually $1 each, and everything in the store was 30% off that day. So I picked them up because they were only 70 cents. let's look at some more stuff. We'll take a look at these for now. All right. Seino. As you know, I'm a big fan of Seino. Also, here on the obi, this is not an advertisement. This is Gataro Sensei's loves Seino's book. So it's his endorsement here. And if you know me, you know I love Gataro. I bought this almost just for the obi, just to have it. But no, I love Seino. Of course, Tokyo to Kitaku Akabane was his big series. I've talked about before. I lived in Akabane for some years, so I really loved that series because it was all my local joints in there. And this is kind of a bunch of like ghost stories, wild stories. Pretty fun. And pretty, lots of butts and dings and all kinds of fun stuff in here. But Seino, Guardrail, and Young Girl. Gadoreru to Shoujo. I'm not a big Kamimura Ichio fan, but I should be. I mean, why not? You know, the artwork is so cool. This was only $3 at my local store. 300 yen, right? So because of that, I just had to get it. I want to, if I'm gonna collect the Kamimura stuff, I'm gonna go get actual like early copies of the dope artwork, you know, the dope printing. There's awesome hard copies out there, but $3, had to get it. Also, I want to do a Kanda Mori video in the near future. Follow him on Insta. He's such a funny dude, man. Kanda Mori. He, you know, he's the early 90s horror, just extreme horror mangaka. I bought this Noroi for about $15 with shipping online just for his story because before I had this Ayashi. It's the 3. 1, 3. I don't have 2. But man, you know, if you're a collector like me, if you don't collect this kind of genre of horror, the Inuki Kaneko or the Hino Hideshi, the Kojima Miyako, if you don't already have a bunch of this stuff, this is a great introduction into it. You can find a bunch of cool people that you may not have known about before, but for me, almost everything in here I already have. So I bought this just for the Kanda Mori, both of these, and both of those stories were already in tankobon that I already had. So that was kind of a bummer, especially, you know, paying $15 for them. But they do have these Kaneko times Hino, the Hino Hideshi, and the Inuki Kaneko. In the early 90s, they did some mashup stuff together where they're doing combined art. You can still find goods out there, t-shirts out there. They did a whole campaign, and I think during that time, they were commissioned to do the covers for these. So if you look inside here, you can see that's Hino on top and Kaneko on the bottom. Here too, clearly Hino, clearly Kaneko. So maybe just for these color pages, it was worth getting these. Man, aren't those dope? Kaneko, Hino, Hino, Kaneko, Hino, Kaneko. So if you want, go online, try to search some of that stuff down. The other good thing is the beginning of each of their stories has a profile on the mangaka. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the mangaka, then those are great. But again, sorry guys, these are all Japanese only releases. There is Kanda Mori. Love it, love it. So wild. But again, already had it. I sometimes like the red and white. It's pretty cool. Maybe I'll go back here. Hino Hideshi. This is a good story. I actually don't have this one, so that was actually one kind of bonus. And now I'm starting to say maybe I shouldn't be complaining so much. This one as well. I'd already had this one, Ayashi and Kandamori. Ooh, the spider tail. Where's her head? And Garo. After doing a Wood and Mortared Kingdom review, after spending 10 months reading Wood and Mortared Kingdom because it's over 1,200 pages long, I started to creep into the Garo zone. This is Garo Mandala, the Mandala of Garo magazine. This was released in 1991, and it shows all of the covers, all of the artists that were in there, and then there's a bunch of essays and interviews with select mangaka. It's really cool. The cool part I really liked is being able to go through and see like nice clear images of all of the Garo produced from its inception in 1964 to 1991 when this was released. Pretty cool, huh? And lots of interviews. Mizuki Shigeru. He was alive then, 91. Garo Bonenkai, or the year-end party at Garo by Tsuge Tadao, brother of Tsuge Yoshiharu. And there's also some good info in the back here. Look at this. An index of all of the Garo stories released and the mangaka of those stories from 1964 to 1991. So this is going to be invaluable if I do decide to go deep down the Garo rabbit hole of gekiga. But until then, it's probably going to sit on my shelf while I read a bunch of horror. All right. A couple more things. I think I have about 4 or 5 more things here. Ran into some more MOROHOSHI Daijirou, who I mentioned earlier, from the 1970 December issue of Con, Junko's Blackmail. And these are a couple of his horror releases. This is The Blue Horse, Aoi Uma, and this is the Namakubi Jiken, or the incident of the head, or it could be beheading. I don't know. Look at that. She's carrying a head. And look at that. There's a head creeping around over there in that weird barn. So anyways, I'm going to definitely do a video on Morohoshi in the future, but his stories are so text heavy. I've read about 3 or 4 things by him, and they take me a long time to get through. Remember, although I've been here for 18 years in Japan, studied Japanese for over 20, I'm not a native speaker, so it takes me a little bit longer to read Japanese than it does English, but that is part of the fun of it. I already made a little video on this. I think I'm going to put it on Insta. Maybe I'll put it here on YouTube. I'm not sure. This is Naniwa Kurisaburo Koma manga, and this is just some short manga by an indie author. No text, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panel. Look at that guy does a windmill and just flies off in the sky. You should always support indie mangaka when you can. This is number 37 out of 100, so couldn't really find any information on Naniwa Kurisaburo, but I picked it up and I really enjoyed it. I made a video. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but it was just like a 10-minute flip through of the whole thing. I will figure that out. And we'll wrap up with The Laughing Vampire 2, which I needed for a reference for something. And of course, this is Maruo Suehiro. And recently, I'm really into horror with car and motorcycle scenes in it. Death by car, death by truck, death by motorcycle, anything. which is why I picked this up. So if you're in our Discord group, you would know that. Speaking of which, come over and check us out in the Discord group. Everyone's super friendly. There are many people that know much, much more about manga than I do. So it's a great place to get recommendations. Really fun group over there. And also to all of you friends out there that like the channel and sub, share. You are all awesome. Trying to slowly creep up there as far as subs go, but it really doesn't matter. You know, not everyone is into the weird stuff that I'm into, so I don't expect to have thousands of subs or anything like that. But if you are into this kind of retro, horror, gekiga, kashihon kind of stuff, then come follow me for the ride. And with that, everyone, thank you, and またね